This is the Buck 110 in Magna Cut, basically an ungettable pocket knife. This is a really nice modern folder from Brad Zinker and Boker. It's got titanium, it's got carbon fiber, it's got M390, super slick. This is a huge fixed blade, also from Buck Knives, called the Buck 124. All of these, including a bunch more, can be yours at the end of this video because we just hit 100,000 subscribers and we're gonna do something really awesome. And the best part is that you're gonna be able to help somebody out as well. We are gonna be looking at a ton of new knives and gear, just kicking it old school style. We've got stuff on the table that are prototypes. We got stuff on the table that haven't been released. We got stuff on the table that I promise you haven't seen yet. We're just gonna have a good time and celebrate all of you awesome people out there who helped us hit this important milestone. So let's jump into the first knife, which I will guarantee most of you probably haven't seen and is super rad. This is the Dull Boy Blades Beekeeper. And I said it slow because I wanted to make sure that you guys knew exactly what this knife was about. It's got G10 handles. It's got 80 CRV2 blade steel. And it has this really neat Kydex sheath that has got a bunch of different carry options, comes with this really cool clip on it. The reason that I'm showing you guys this is that I met Jonah, who is the owner, operator, everythinger of Dull Boy Blades at Blade Show. And we got chatting, we got talking. He's like, hey, I want to send you a couple knives. I said, dude, that'd be rad. He actually had a fixed blade on him at the show, and he ended up giving it to our buddy Pete from Pete's Pirate Life. But before he gave it to me, I handled it. And here's the thing, and this is why I'm showing you guys this knife, is not only is it cool, not only is it a really rad small maker based out of Texas, but he bases the handle designs off of his own hand. And we must have a cloned hand because this thing fits in my hand like it was custom made for me. It is super, super comfortable knife, really cool, interesting design, and just really well thought out brand. Like all of his branding and everything is just absolutely incredible. I know it's kind of a silly thing to say, but like, that's his logo. It's just really fun and playful. And I feel like I just don't see enough fun and playful in the knife world. Really quick, also from Dull Boy Blades is this little knife sharpening kit called the whole Enchilada. And there's a couple things that I wanna show you guys about this thing. Not only is the product itself really neat. So here is the whole Enchilada in the closed form. And then we slide it out. It's a 3D printed pocket sharpener, field sharpener. So it slides back into the case like that. And then you've got a 600 grit diamond stone on one side, comes up and out, and you have a strap on the other side. So it's like a clever, fun little design, pocket field sharpener, whatever you want to call it. Throw it in your backpack, forget about it. And then underneath the sharpener, just because of the nature of how we had to print it, there's a nice secret little pocket that you could put, I guess, whatever you want in it. He doesn't have any suggestions in the packaging on what you should put there. But either way, really neat design from Dull Boy Blades. The guy who does all this stuff, his name's Jonah. But going back to fun, and this is something that I love to see, is everything about his branding, his packaging. Like you get like the little knives on the side here on each side. On the outside, it says everything you need, nothing you don't, here on the outside. And then you can see, it's just got a lot of funny instructions and a lot of funny stuff. With the knife comes in a really cool box. It comes with a really nice typed up letter that's, again, just kind of clever, and he signs the letter and all that. So anyways, Jonah over at Dull Boy Blades, some really interesting stuff. The Beekeeper and the whole Enchilada, absolutely love it. And I think you guys should check him out. He's a smaller maker, so his stuff's gonna be in stock and out of stock, but definitely check him out. He's worth it. He's also just a good dude, which is always a nice cherry on top. All right, next up is a knife that you may or may not have seen on our last video. If you're into EDC first aid stuff and you want to hear from a pro, Jamie's behind the camera rolling his eyes because we actually sat down with Jamie and talked about his experience as a paramedic and talked about first aid and EDC first aid and what you actually will use and actually need. Really cool video, and in that, we talked about the Boker Atlas. This is a series of knives from Boker that honestly was completely off my radar until just recently. It comes in a bunch of different versions. So this particular one is just a brass slip jointed version, but you also have a bunch of different handle materials. You've got locking bladed versions. They even have some multi-tools, which is pretty cool. And it's just a really simple kind of collectible, neat, pocketable, thin knife. And that's why it's so exciting. They come in D2 blades. This one is 12C27. So 12C27, D2 are your two options. And the best part is that they come in at I think they start at $28 and they go up to $45. So Jamie's actually been carrying one of these a lot recently, really digging it. You guys are gonna see more of this on the channel. And If this piques your interest at all, first off, they're super cheap and you could buy a bunch and have a bunch of swappable ones and have some fun. But more importantly, like I mentioned, at the end of this video, the 3 packages that we've put together not only are gonna go to help some people that are in need, but you're also going to be able to get a Boker Atlas in those packages. You guys may or may not seen this floating around, but we have one in hand, which is really exciting. This is the Big Idea Designs tie knife. So this is Big Idea Designs' first pocket knife ever. Now, if you guys know, Big Idea Designs is a huge player in the EDC community. They make everything from like, you know, fidget stuff, to pry bars, to multi-tools, to pens, and all sorts of rad stuff. This is their first pocket knife. And I talked to the guys over at Big Idea Designs. They've been working and perfecting on this thing for years now. They actually had a design a year or two ago that they basically just were like, not good enough. Scrapped the entire design, started over, and now we have this version here. This is not available yet, but they have a Kickstarter up right now. So if you go back to Kickstarter, I think you get a little bit of a lower entry price into the knife. It's just a really cool knife. I mean, if you check it out here, you got a nice slim pocket clip with the tie. That's kind of like what Big Idea Designs does on all their tie stuff. Full titanium construction, and all the little things that you dig about Big Idea Designs. It does come with the lanyard. It's got a little bit of a longer handle to blade ratio. I think that it works because the blade's a little bit stubbier, which is kind of neat. Just kind of a bit of a bougie knife, a little bit of a flex knife, but really simple, really just like non-pretentious, I guess, as far as fancy knives go, from a good group of guys over there at Big Idea Designs. So I think it's gonna be available in October. So this is a pretty early look at the old tie pocket knife. So from there, this is a knife you for sure have seen somewhere, but it's newish to me because I recently just got one. So this is the Benchmade Full Immunity. Really nice, small little pocket folder. More importantly, it has that really beautiful Benchmade O-degree handle and the axis lock, the OG crossbar lock. Obviously, smaller knife. You're gonna get a lot of kind of Launch 4 vibes from it, even though it does have a little bit of a smaller handle. All your Benchmade standards, you got a deep carry pocket clip on it. This one does come with a lanyard and a bead. I'm not a big lanyard and bead guy. Like I mentioned with the Big Idea Designs, I'd probably just take it off, but it does help extend your grip. If that's something that you're concerned with, it is a little bit of a grip extender. I can get 3.5 fingers on this thing, no problem. Fits really well, really nice and compact, cool little knife. I mean, the reality of it is let's be honest, Benchmade prices they're a little expensive. Made in the USA, quality company. I mean, the guys that invented the crossbar lock, which is pretty cool, or I guess I should say, the guys that propagated the axis lock, which is really cool. Excited to see more of the stuff that they're doing. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that the Buck 124 that we're doing, we have 3 packages at the end of this thing. You guys definitely have to check them out. And again, it's going to help somebody. We're gonna get to that story in just a little while. That the Buck 124 was Jamie's favorite fixed blade, but I've got a knife here that he's kind of been drooling over a lot. It's actually replaced some other knives that he would carry in other situations. This is the Boker Bronco. It's a bushcraft knife, I guess we could say. It's just a really cool knife. Like I said, Jamie's just really been crushing on it. It's got a 3V blade. It's got kind of a rubberized polymer handle. I can't remember exactly what the material is, but it's similar to the material that they coat like the handles on power tools and stuff in. So really tough, really durable, feels really good. It's got just a little bit of a swell in the handle, which is kind of nice. It just kind of gives you a place to grip a little bit better because the handle is fairly thin, as you can see here. You can see at the end there, it's got that the hammer piece there, full tanged all the way through. And then one thing that's really neat about this Puko-esque, bushcraft-esque knife is that it actually does have a sharpened spine on it for striking fire steels, which is really cool. But Boker really thought this out. It's sharpened on this front bit here, the front 2/3, I guess we could say, and the back thirds is a little more rounded. So when you get into it, it's really comfortable. But a lot of bushcraft knives really miss on either sharpening the whole back of the blade so that you have this really sharp point if you need to put your hand up here for rest, or not sharpening at all, which makes it a bugger for striking fire steels. Boker Bronco, really cool. I just want to show you the sheath really fast because this is another thing that Jamie's been nerding out on. This is a really nice, thick, full-grained leather production sheath. This is just the stock sheath that comes with it. Comes with a dangler, comes with a belt loop as well if you don't want to run the dangler. And then it does come also with a fire steel. As you can see, we've been playing with it a little bit. Now, the Bronco, I believe it goes for just over $200, which is a lot of money. But the cool thing is that Boker is bringing out a kind of more compact budget version of the Bronco. You can go with the fancy big boy, or you can go with the more budget version that should be coming out soonish. Man, these next two are, there's kind of a theme on the table with a few of these, and it's fun. I'm gonna start with the one that you probably haven't seen, and then I'm gonna go with the one that you might have seen. This is not a VHS cassette tape, but it's meant to be designed like this. This is the Black Triangle brand. We've actually had some knives from them. We've had some things from them for a while now, and just been looking for the right place to be able to tell you guys about these guys. This is the VHS case that your knife, let's just call it a knife, is going to come in from Black Triangle. It's a full, I mean, they did the full thing. Like, there's a description of what movie this should be. They've got a rating, the whole thing. It's a lot of fun. And then the knife, and I say that way because it's kind of an interesting blade, is a G10, let's just call it a Poke Boy. So we got a G10 Poke Boy from Black Triangle, and obviously this is a purpose-built knife, kind of one intention, but I think that it's really interesting what they're doing. You're not seeing a lot of stuff in the knife world that's kind of in this range, and I think the guys over at Black Triangle are honestly probably doing it the best. It comes with a very real, very serious sheath that's gonna be able to retain your blade. You know, you got a nice clip here, you can retain that any way that you want. I just love the brutal utility of this knife, but Black Triangle brand, they're having a lot of fun. They're doing some interesting stuff. So if this is up your alley, check them out. Really good dudes. I've talked with them on the phone a couple times. Now, on to the other fun brand, Jack Wolf Knives. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jack Wolf Knives. Really great guy, based out of Arizona. And he does these really interesting kind of I guess you call them sprint runs, one run and dones. It's kind of the model is he kind of creates a knife, he puts it out, they do one, you know, every month or so, and it's kind of a collectible thing. They're expensive, but they're really nice as well. He leans kind of in the traditional world. Now this particular knife, now as you can see, it's got this really awesome safety orange polishing rag in it. And the reason for that is that this knife is called the Gunslinger. So I would assume that's why. This is the knife, but I'm gonna wait to open it because I wanna show you what else comes in the tube, which is really fun. The art on the outside is really fun. This is kind of the character that they have. If I remember correctly, I actually believe this is an artist that has drawn or currently draws for Marvel Comics, which is kind of fun. And then inside, you're going to get a POG. Now, we talked about VHS tapes. I actually didn't realize there's a tie between these two. It's ancient technology. So if you don't know what POGs are, it was like a collectible game. Basically, you'd get these wafer board things, you'd stack them up in a pile, and then you'd hit them, and if you could flip them a certain way, then you would get the other person's POGs. It was basically just like 90s marbles. You get these kind of fun collectible POG in there, you get some stickers in there, which didn't come out when I dumped it, and then you get an insert for the pocket clip. And I think that is primarily due to the fact that he does a lot of just kind of traditional designs. Now, let's take a look at the Gunslinger because it's kind of special when it comes to Jack Wolf knives. This is their first locking knife, if I remember correctly. Again, some of you guys are gonna know this brand for sure. I like a lot about this. I like the clip point blade. I've really been digging on clip point blades lately. There's just a stylization thing to it. Also clip point blades, it's very American, and I've just kind of been vibing on the whole aesthetic recently. You've got some carbon fiber here, full titanium construction. You got some really fun anodization that matches the carbon fiber that they've put into the knives. Here's the thing, great action all the way around. We'll see if I can front flip. It's not the knife's fault, this is me. There it is. Really great action as well all the way around. I feel like sometimes when you go for fun or you go for great packaging or you go for a lot of brand identity, sometimes you end up with not a great knife. But with Jack Wolf knives, with all of the branding and all of the zhuzh, right, that they're putting into kind of the marketing and the product look of things, he is making some stellar knives, or I should say, he's having some stellar knives made. But definitely going through some very intense QC. And if you're into traditionals, modern traditionals in particular, I was able to handle some of what he had. I didn't end up getting a modern traditional from him, I got the Gunslinger. But if you're into modern traditionals or traditionals in general, they're just absolutely incredible. Jack Wolf knives. The Gunslinger is super rad, but keep your eye on them because they're always coming out with new stuff and they might have something that you want to get into, but be careful because they're collectible and it can become addicting. On the theme of fun, but in a different way. You guys saw this once, but we have one in hand now, and we're gonna be having some fun with it. This is the Nax from CRKT. I mean, what more can I say? This thing's amazing. So you have micarta handle. I can't remember the blade steel. Not like that really matters because this thing's just meant to chop and have fun and be rad. Just a really unique knife, really a lot of fun. Me and Jamie are super excited to take this thing out and just beat it to death and have some fun with it. You have a sharpened edge across the belly, but then also the top edge is sharpened as well, and it does come to a bit of a point here. I wouldn't call it a point, but it does come, it is sharpened all the way in to the other side of the sharpened edge. I think this thing is just super fun. I also think that the way that it's extended so far out here, you could really get in that thing and chop with it. And so I'm excited to see what it might do for chopping. And then, you know, Nax, so knife and axe is where the name comes from. I think they have a couple different knives kind of in this design line. And it comes with a nice little sheath. So you just put that over, get that leather strap, nice button, good leather strap, and you get some really good retention there. So really cool Nax from CRKT. Funny enough, I didn't realize, but I have another CRKT right after it. So we recently did a video on a lot of the high-end knives that CRKT has been doing recently. This is a crazy Hara design from CRKT Knives, and this is part of their kind of premium product push that they've been doing. Like I said, we did a whole video on this, and you guys can go check that out to see some of the interesting stuff that they're doing. I think that what a lot of us wanted from CRKT was to see some of our favorite designs with just, maybe a little bit higher price point for a little bit better fit and finish, maybe a little bit better materials, a little bit of blade steel. And CRKT was like, okay, we're gonna do that. At least that's what I assume they're gonna do. But first, let's show you what we can do. What a better designer to work with than Hara to match that. And they've worked with a ton of different designers. They got a lot of rad knives. Check out the video if you want the full scope. This is called the Hirin. And it's made in Maniago, Italy. And this thing is just insane. You got Damasteel blade, full titanium construction. And of course, just all that amazing, Hara magic in it. Hara is a Japanese maker based out of Seki, Japan, and that's kind of like the knife capital of Japan. If anybody has connections over there, let me know, because we want to go film a documentary in Seki and bring you guys all the awesome knife stuff that's happening over there. But I don't have any connections in Japan, so let me know. Back to the Hirin, just a really neat knife from CRKT. This thing's like $500. It's a very expensive knife. I'm not like, there's no pretense here about it being expensive or not expensive, and that's exactly what they're doing with their premium line. So a lot less expensive than a custom Hara, but still very expensive. But I threw it on here because I think it's an interesting knife. All right, the next one I know you've seen because we did a whole video with this maker, and this is the Overland from our buddy TJ Schwarz. Now, I don't know if everybody saw that video, but I do want you guys to know about the Overland, and I want you to know about TJ if you don't already. Just an absolutely stellar dude, and he makes some really great knives. The Overland being one of them. This is my Overland. So it's a Magna Cut blade. You got micarta handles, stainless hardware with some brass spacers behind it. Here's the thing with the Overland, is it's purpose-built to just be a great, outdoors type knife. Fits great in the hand. I'll tell you my favorite feature about this thing. Everything is just milled and CNC'd and finished really, really well. TJ is just insane for details. Check out the video that we did. We went to his shop and showed off everything that he does. It's amazing. But the thing that I love about this knife the most is the way that my finger fits in here. It feels like that's where it goes. It just feels like that's where it's supposed to be. It's round, it's secure. It doesn't feel like you're gonna get a hot spot there. And I've used this knife a bit here and there, and I can attest you're not gonna get a hot spot there unless you have weird hands. Anyways, this is the Overland from TJ Schwarz. Super stellar knife. Absolutely love this knife from a great designer. The other cool thing that TJ does is he kind of has like a customization thing. So you can order with different handle materials, you can order it with different hardwares. There's probably a good chance that if you have an Overland, you could probably just hit up TJ and you can get different scales and hardware and stuff for it to customize it. Love that knife, super great. Probably one you guys haven't really seen a lot of. Now, like I said, we have some awesome stuff going on at the very end of this video. We have one knife left. So hopefully you've held on so we can all celebrate together and we can help some people out. All right, this last one, I don't know a lot about. I also said in the video that we were gonna be looking at some knives that nobody's seen. We're gonna go look at some prototypes. Hopefully we don't get in trouble for showing this because I don't know. This is a Vosteed fixed blade, and that's about all I know. I was at Blade Show. Somebody at the end of the show, I honestly can't even remember who it was because it was just crazy at the end of the show. So if it was you, let me know in the comments. Thank you. Somebody at the end of the show ran up and gave me 1 or 2 Vosteed knives, and they're like, hey, Vosteed wants you to check these out. I was like, cool, I'll check them out. And I have yet to use this one in particular. We literally are barely just getting back on track after Blade Show. But I can say this, it's got 2 points of jimping on the blade, which I am really into. So you can get up close and personal with the jimping up front for detailed work or a higher grip. And then of course, you've got really good purchase on the back with the jimping on the back. It's got micarta handles. I'm a sucker for micarta, we all know it. Outside of that, couldn't tell you the name, couldn't tell you blade steel, but I can tell you this, it is a really cool knife. And I'm really interested to see what they do for sheaths because this is the sheath that was handed to me in. But I have checked out Vosteed quite a bit since Blade Show. They've got a lot of great looking budget styled knives on their website. Now, I'm gonna be full transparency. I haven't really used any of their folders. I haven't really handled a lot of their product, but I can say that when I'm looking at materials, when I'm looking at build quality, when I'm looking at what they're doing, I think they're doing some interesting stuff. So Vosteed in general, check them out if you haven't. One day this prototype's gonna hit the market, I hope, And Vosteed, if you're seeing this, please don't get mad. Cool knife. I hope you make it. Like I said, we hit 100,000 subscribers, which is such a big deal. As we hit 100,000 subscribers, me and Jamie were talking, we're like, okay, dude, we're gonna go ham, we're gonna do a huge giveaway, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. Like I mentioned at the beginning though, this is actually gonna be an opportunity to be able to help some people out. Bit of a somber situation. So me and Jamie have a buddy named Kyle. And Kyle, really good dude. The last 17 years, he was a master technician at Grand Teton Harley-Davidson at Idaho Falls. Unfortunately, just recently, Kyle was riding his motorcycle to work. He was in an accident and he passed away. He has a wife and a daughter who obviously are still here, and he was the sole breadwinner. So what we want to do for Kyle's family is put together some awesome packages and make a really low bar to entry so that we can help that family out, so that all of us can help that family out. These packages are amazing, and every single dime is going to the family. So before I ramble on or tell you anything else, there's a link at the top of the description. Just go to that page. You're gonna buy a $5 raffle ticket. Every single penny, I just wanna stress, every single penny of that money is going directly to Kyle's family. We're not taking any money. We're not allowing any other money to go out to anywhere else. Every single penny of that $5 raffle is gonna go to Kyle's family, and you're going to win prize packages. I think each prize package is close to or over $1,000 in knives and gear. Kyle was a buck guy. Buck 110, carried a buck 110 all the time. I was talking to him about some of the work that he did in the Pacific Northwest when he was younger. And I don't think he was a roadie, but he was like a stagehand or a union guy doing stage work. And he set up concerts for like Nirvana. He carried a buck 110 in his pocket all the time. He had his so tuned that he could grab the blade and just flick it open. That was like his preferred way to open it. And he carried it in pocket most of the time, if I remember correctly. So that is why we are giving away this buck 110 magnet cut. And this is just one knife in the package that this knife is part of. Right before we shot this video, I had a crazy idea. So literally 5 minutes before we started filming this video, I had a crazy idea. And I was like, you know what would be really cool is we did these really neat OTF knives with Axial. It was a 150 numbered run. So I called up Colby, the owner of Axial, and I said, hey man, we've got this raffle that we're gonna do. It's going to a good cause. It's celebrating 100,000 subscribers. Could you guys make a one-off Zach in the Wild knife if we get enough people in this raffle to add to one of these prize packages? And without even hesitating, Colby's like 100% no problem. So if we can get enough people in on this raffle and we can get the numbers up there, we are going to be able to add a one-off Zach in the Wild Axial knife. We're really excited about where the channel is, and we could not have done this without you guys. We have a lot more awesome stuff coming. We'd love to hear what you guys would like to see and what you guys would like us to do. I've always seen this as our channel. And what I mean by that is not Jamie standing behind the camera. What I mean by that is I really want to build this channel and have been building this channel to just support all of us, to support all of us in the knife community, to sit down, have a good time, talk about this crazy hobby that we all love, and really just dive into the roots of having fun, but being prepared, of being capable of doing things, all of that stuff. So from the bottom of mine and Jamie's heart, again, who's behind the camera, we are so grateful to you guys, and we have a lot more exciting stuff coming. I hope that you guys choose to help out Kyle's family. So thank you guys so much. I hope you dug this one. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite stuff is that you saw, and we'll catch you on the next one.